Most early stage SaaS companies throw content on the wall and hope something sticks. Here's the exact system I use to take a SaaS from 0 to 10,000 ICP views across Google and LLMs with no wasted effort. Now, I've worked with several B2B SaaS companies, and the ones that scale visibility follow the same playbook. It's not about publishing more content, it's about building a strategic foundation that compounds over time. Today, I'm walking you through my entire workflow, from the moment I onboard a new client to how I track and optimize content months down the line. This is the system that gets results. No fluff, no theory, just the actual process. And here's why this matters. A lot of SaaS companies waste months creating content that doesn't really move the needle. They're not targeting the right topics, the messaging is inconsistent, and more importantly, they're not optimizing for AI search. They also have no system for tracking what's actually working. In this video, I'm going to show you how to avoid all of that. By the end, you'll have a complete roadmap for taking your SaaS from invisible to everywhere your ICP is searching. Let's break it down. The first step during onboarding is to mine customer pain points. Now, before I produce a single word of content, before I even look at keyword research tools, I need to understand what your customers actually care about. Not what you think they care about, what they're actually saying. So this starts by gathering customer calls, sales calls, onboarding, support tickets, CS conversations, anywhere where your team is interacting with customers or prospects. I'm mining for pain points. What problems are people trying to solve when they come to you? What language do they use to describe those problems? What objections come up repeatedly? What questions do they ask before they buy? What confusion exists after they've signed up? I document every single pain point I hear. And then I do something crucial. I rank them by frequency. If one person mentions a problem, that's interesting. If 10 people mention the same problem using similar language, that's a signal. That's a content pillar waiting to happen. That's a topic your ICP is actively searching for answers to. From there, I reverse engineer content ideas. Each high-frequency pain point becomes a topic. Each topic gets mapped to SEO keywords, and really, that's where your content pillars and content strategy is developed from. But here's the key. I'm not starting with keyword research. I'm starting with customer language and then finding the keywords that match. This ensures that your content actually resonates because you're speaking your customer's language, not just throwing some marketing jargon. Now, if your company already has existing content, and most do, I run a performance audit. What's ranking well, what's getting traffic but not converting, what has been ignored by search engines. Now, for these purposes, I have a custom Looker dashboard to identify underperforming content that needs a refresh. Sometimes your best opportunity isn't creating something new, it's fixing what you already have. A well-optimized refresh of an existing article can perform an existing new idea, or it can save you a lot of time from having to create new content and simply wasting resources instead of optimizing what you already have. The goal here is to build a prioritized content roadmap based on actual customer language, search demand, and existing asset performance. No vanity topics, no executive pet projects, no guessing. Just the stuff that moves the needle. The second step is to audit product pages and your existing content for coherence. Now, here's a mistake I see a lot. One product page says your tool is enterprise project management software. Another page calls it a team collaboration platform. Your blog from 6 months ago describes it as a workflow automation tool. Your case study page positions you as an operational efficiency software. Imagine an LLM scraping your site. It's trying to understand what your product actually is and is getting 4 different answers from 4 different pages. So what is your product? It has no idea. Your messaging is contradictory. So the LLM either doesn't cite you because it's not confident it understands what you do, or even worse, it misrepresents what you do when someone asks about solutions in your category. This is why I audit every product page, every landing page, and every piece of old content to make sure the messaging is consistent. One clear positioning, one clear ICP, one clear value prop, and one clear way of describing what you do. And all of this extends to legacy content. Now, this is critical. If you published a blog post 2 years ago that describes your content as, let's say a workflow efficiency tool, and maybe you've pivoted since then, or maybe you're talking about a feature in that legacy content that you since deprecated. Your positioning has evolved and that old content doesn't quite reflect your current messaging. LLMs don't know that it's outdated. They see it on your domain, assume it's current, and cite that information. So now ChatGPT is telling someone your product does something it doesn't do anymore. Now, I flag all outdated content for updates or removal. If it's worth keeping, update it to reflect current positioning. If it's not, remove it or redirect it. Don't let old content sabotage your current messaging. I also look for contradictions in how different pages describe your ICP. Is your homepage, for example, targeting enterprise teams while your blog is clearly written for startups? That sort of thing is confusing for both humans and AI. This seems very basic, but it's the foundation. If your own site can't clearly, consistently explain what you do and who you serve, search engines and LLMs won't either. Content messaging equals coherent citations. Fix this before you produce another piece of content. The third step is to produce content optimized for LLMs. Now, when I'm writing content for a client, I'm constantly referring back to those customer calls that I mentioned earlier. I'm using the exact language that the ICP uses, not marketing jargon or buzzwords. The actual words that they say when they describe their problems and evaluate solutions. Doing all of this also optimizes your page for LLM ranking, and this is where a lot of content fails. Now, I've covered this in depth in my previous video, so if you haven't watched that yet, go check it out. I'll link it in the description and put a card up here on the screen. That video breaks down the core principles for ranking on ChatGPT as well as other LLMs like Perplexity. Every piece of content I produce is designed to be crawlable, understandable, and citable by both traditional search engines and AI models. We're not writing blog posts for the sake of blog posts. We're building a knowledge base that positions your brand as the authority in your space. And since everything is rooted in actual customer pain points, you're using their language, answering their questions, content naturally answers the questions your ICP is asking. That is what gets you ranked and recommended. Now, here's what this looks like in practice. Let's say we're writing about choosing project management software for remote teams. We're not going to start with the history of project management. We lead with a decision framework. We use headers like evaluate based on async communication features, not just task management, instead of generic headers like key features to consider or whatever. You need to chunk your content so that each section answers a distinct question. You make sure someone could just scan the headers and understand your entire argument. And you want to make sure your content is genuinely helpful. Don't use SEO tricks like keyword density or anything else. Just be useful. Now again, if you want a deep dive on LLM optimization, watch my previous video. It'll give you the complete framework. For this workflow right now, just know that I'm applying those principles at every stage of content production. Step 4 is tracking what matters and automating refreshes. Now, most companies make the mistake of tracking vanity metrics like page views, time on site, bounce rate, etc. These are fine for general health checks, but they don't tell you if you're winning in AI search or if your content is actually moving the needle. They don't tell you if you're reaching your ICP. Now, here's something that I prioritize. LLM mentions. Is ChatGPT citing your content? Is Perplexity recommending your tool? And so on. This tells me that the content is working for AI search and not just for traditional search. I also track keyword cluster performance versus the competition, not just individual keywords but clusters. Are you gaining ground on the topics that matter to your ICP? Are you appearing in more searches related to your core pain points? And then I monitor which content is actually driving pipeline. Traffic is great, but if it's not converting into trials or demos, it's just noise. And then the last step is to connect content performance to revenue metrics. Now, this usually requires some sort of plugin into HubSpot or Qualified or any other CRM that you're using. But this connection is crucial. Once content is live, once all this measurement is done, and this is more of a process that's run on the side, once content is live, don't just let it sit and decay. Prioritize monthly refreshes, such as updating data, add new sections based on customer feedback, improve structure based on performance, and so on. Here's the key thing. I try to automate as much of this as possible. I build workflows that flag content for refresh based on performance decay. For example, if a piece drops in rankings, stops getting LLM citations, it automatically goes into a refresh queue. If a competitor publishes something better on a topic than we're covering, you get an alert. So there's no manual lift, no massive spreadsheets. The system tells me what needs attention, and I can prioritize based on actual impact. This keeps your content compounding. You're not just publishing and moving on. You're already maintaining and improving basically what's already there. And this is what gives you the edge over the competition. There is also how early stage companies compete with enterprises that have massive content libraries. Your 50 pieces of high quality, well-maintained content will outperform their 500 pieces of publish and forget content every time. That's how you scale from 0 to 10,000 ICP views. It's a system, not a series of one-off projects. Each steps build on the last, and each piece of content makes the next one more effective. So that's the complete workflow. Mine customer pain points, build a data-driven content roadmap, audit your messaging for coherence across all properties, and then produce content optimized for both search engines and AI models. Most importantly, set up tracking and automated maintenance so that your content compounds over time. Execute the system, and you'll build a visibility engine that scales with your company. Do you want to see this in action for your SaaS? I work with B2B companies to implement exactly the system all the time. Visit my website, link in the description, or drop a comment below and let's talk about your specific growth challenges. Thanks for watching.